initial answer, and I'll stick with that. No.
Okay. Anybody think it is to some extent on the parent?
I
I
do.
do. I do too.
I do.
Let me see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Alex, what you think?
Um, I don't think it's all on the parent, but I do believe in nature versus nurture. You can, I imagine as parents, you're doing the best that you can with what you have and what you know. There are definitely traumas and things that are passed down. But I've definitely met people and they are fuck ups, but because I know their background and their story, it's not a surprise why they turn out the way that they did. It's not a surprise that you are in and out of being incarcerated because that was something that was normal to you. So there are some situations where it's just like,
Some.
surprised that they
Some.
turned out that way. Okay.
What you mean some?
And I say some because I know you don't like some.
Nah, and some don't end allowed on Wednesday.
There are instances where.
Don't try to fool me. That's the same. You mean the same
What
shit.
do you mean?
So, answer the question first.
Okay. If your child goes,
If your child, yeah,
that on you.
yeah,
Yes, I do.
okay. And but you're saying, but some people have a nature of being aggressive or mean or bad or whatever the case is, and you can't parent it out of them.
Yes.
What you think, Gunny, and then Mary?
I think we're 100% accountable. As parents, we're leaders. Not trying to give the cliche answer here, but as parents, we're leaders, and when you assume a role of leadership, when you decide to have children, then you assume the role as the protector, provider, counselor, nurturer, whatever you want to call it, and we assume that role. And there's no handbook to being a parent. You can never be the perfect parent. I have older kids and I have an 11-year-old, and the things that I did with my older kids, I don't do with my 11-year-old because I learned different parenting tactics when it comes to my youngest child. But ultimately, we are responsible for the decisions that they make. Ultimately, we are. Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Mary.
So I don't believe 100%, but I do think a majority of that lies within us, and it's not teaching our children to like avoid certain things. Like for instance, our oldest that is graduating high school, we more so teach her. We don't keep her away from things. We teach her how to handle things in any situation. So if it's not about restricting them or being strict parents where it's going to avoid certain things, it's about knowing how to handle yourself in those tough situations. So if we didn't teach her in that kind of way when we just were like strict parents, maybe she would follow more into doing things that she was curious about. Which would lead her down a different path, like, sleeping around, maybe just, doing things that she wasn't supposed to, being strict parents. I've seen a lot where strict parenting has led children to get into more trouble because they don't know what's going on out there. So as soon as they get outside, they out of here. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of that does have to do, again, with the strict parenting. But I also do believe that a lot of things that kids do learn is from peers, which has a major impact on, what's going on. Some people have 2-parent households, great families and all of that, and still end up trying to be gangbangers.
So is it on you to an extent?
I feel like it's more on the parent, yes.
And if I could just add one thing really, really quick, I think that if we push the message to parents, as far as, we can just speak for Black people. If we just push the message to parents that, there's a huge responsibility whenever you find out that your woman is pregnant. You know what I'm saying? As a woman, whenever you find out that you're pregnant, when you finally know that you are pregnant and you have responsibility for another human being, there should be a light bulb that goes off in your head that says, hey, I need to do certain things different. I need to move in a different way. And based on how I raise them, that could affect them in a negative or a positive way. So if we have the thought process that we are 100% responsible for how they lead their lives, then I think that's just going to better I just think that's going to better the community in general.
Gunny you said a specific phrase. You said move in a different way. And in my head, the first thing that came to mind was sometimes that actually requires moving. And I know it's more difficult and easier said than done. But like, I don't think anybody in this podcast right here, no disrespect, but we're not raising our kids in the South Side of Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's where we happen to be from, we have to make the sacrifice to get up out of there because it's not. It has proven not to be the most successful environment for most of these kids. You got it. You got to make these sacrifices as parents. So I think it's ultimately, like you said, 100% on you, on the parent. You got to do what you got to do.
I agree with Chief and Mary. Honestly,
I know.
because
Chief said 100% though, bub.
Well, I take that back then. Sorry, Chief. Not 100%, but
Stupid.
I go with
75.
I'll give you like 90%. Now, Pete, so check this out, right? All of us on this panel, right? To a certain extent, you don't have to say it if you don't want to. Everybody's like around 40 or mid 30s, right?
Yeah.
There's something that happened in your childhood that to this day you're not really that fond of, but you probably never said nothing to your parents. And you're holding that shit on, you're holding it inside of you. And you know if your parents didn't do this or say this or whatever the situation was when you was younger, now currently you could potentially be in a better place. It happens. I know there's a lot of people going through this type of shit like right now today. That's why anything that I ever felt, my parents, my mother or my father did to me, or anything that I was exposed to while I was young, y'all had to address that shit, yo. Word up, because I wouldn't be in the place where I'm at today if I didn't get that off my mind or my soul or my spirit. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be carrying around nothing at this age that I could potentially pass on to my own kids. Hence, having a fucked up kid. You know what I'm saying? Having a gang banging ass kid, a carjacking ass kid, a kid that's going to school putting his hands on teachers, a kid that's going to school cursing out teachers. You know what I'm saying? A teenage boy that's sleeping around having babies with multiple different young girls. You know what I'm saying? Like all this shit, you got to take all this type of shit into consideration. You know what I'm saying? And hold your own self accountable. When you're trying to raise these kids. So yeah, you are accountable. I would say 95% of what the hell your kid is gonna go through or what they're doing. That ass.
So just so I'm clear, when you were saying that something happened in our childhood, are you referencing like the shit we did or just what we observed as a part of our parents? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because we was out there, like, don't get it, we've gotten into plenty of trouble our parents may or may not have known about. You know what I'm saying?
That and that and like current traumas that you still could be having in right now in your current situation. You know what I'm saying? To the point where you got kids, right? Not saying you per se, but an individual on this panel might have children and you don't even really know how to love your own kids because your parents didn't even know how to love you.
I see what you're saying. All right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So your parent didn't pass that trait along to you. So now you don't know how to now you don't know how to reciprocate with your own children. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
And also to the extent of how you're parenting too, because you got to think of it like most of the time these kids that are out here wilding, they're not afraid to upset their parents. They don't feel nothing in their heart in regards to like, damn, I don't want to disappoint my mom or my dad, so let me not make these choices. So if you don't, I don't want to say put fear, but if you're not that much on your child to where they don't feel like there's any consequences behind what they're going to do, they're going to make those bad decisions.
I want my kids to fear me, Mary. Dead ass. I want them to fear me. I want them to be afraid as hell of me. And I'm just being honest.
Do you have that?
I don't want my kids to ever fear me to the extent where they can't come to me about their mistakes.
But they shouldn't want to disappoint you. Like you see the kids in like school, like them kids are out there throwing and fighting the teachers. Those are the kids that are probably like, "Oh, my mom, I don't care. She's not gonna do nothing, no way."
Exactly. My point exactly.
Yeah, and when I used to work in the schools, and I'm back in the schools now, like it's literally like they fear no authority. They're not afraid of any consequences at home. They have no regard for their mother, their father. When they come to school, y'all are nobody to them. But then what kills me is that then when they're on the news, right? And then their parents are crying, "Oh, he's such a..." No, he wasn't. No, he
Mhm.
wasn't.
But those parents could have been really good parents and instilling good things in those kids, and those kids just they decide to act out, because you have those too that they'll act out because of that. So why is that? It's on
That's
the
what I'm
parents.
saying, though, Nate. Maybe that kid is missing something. That's what I'm saying.
It's
You can give him everything in the world, but if you don't never give that kid a hug or a kiss, or you tell that kid every day that you love them and so on and so forth, that's something that's missing there.